change of heart, wanna make a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, 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 Rise and Thrivers, and welcome to another episode of Rise and Thrive Together. It is Monday, May 18th, and it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. We are a vibrant and committed community out to educate and empower and equip you to get the results that you want through real talk by taking real actions. And you'll have the results that you want right now. So, hi, sis. Welcome, welcome. It's Monday night, week 3 already of May. Here we
I
are.
know. It's almost over. Hello, Rise and Thrivers. It's almost over, May.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, here we are. I like this weekend and week was a whirlwind of really fun stuff and work stuff. And now here it is Monday night. Like you and I were just behind the scenes being like, okay, here we are. Like, hello again. But happy to be here. And really excited to kind of go deeper and diving into this whole like beyond the ask, right? We started
Mm-hmm.
really getting into that topic of, you know, choosing, choosing and accepting no matter what that choice, or decision you have made around that big ask that you are looking at. And, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I'm thinking, like, there's a lot that goes around with kind of being with whatever that choice is that you've made around the big ask. So I'm put a big post out there for some people earlier, and I'm curious um, to for our viewers out there, like, welcome, thanks for being here. And, just wondering how this theme about owning your decisions, right? Going beyond that, just I got the courage, I made the commitment, I asked somebody about something that matters. And then there's owning that decision. And, and there's a link between, your choices, the decision making that you have, and having peace of mind, because that's what Raquel and I are really about. We're about empowering and educating and equipping you, and not always that choice or that decision brings peace of mind. We can kind of second guess ourselves once we do it, and especially if we're waiting for the outcome of that. And it can be pretty exhausting, and that takes a lot on our own well-being and our mental health. So I'm curious, how our viewers. Hey, Michael Embry, good evening. He's like, good
You may
evening.
need to refresh their memory. Maybe they haven't had a chance yet to look at your post. So
Yeah. So
you want
here's what this is what I'm talking about, guys. This month, Raquel and I are talking about beyond the ask, own our decisions. So, you have a really something important to you that you want to go and ask for, whatever that is in your personal, your professional life. And we've talked about, first of all, what is stopping you from making that ask? It's always an internal thing. That's like week 1. There is something that's going on inside your mind that has you stopped while you're not asking. So we kind of did that deep dive into that is, and keep on going into Raquel's favorite word, like why, and look beyond that why. All right, so we got that, right? We got that why, we found out what that was about, and we finally did the asking, right? We made that ask. And then it was like owning that ask, owning that no matter what the outcome is, whatever that outcome is, you're going to own that you did it, you asked for it, and then there's an outcome. And sometimes our outcomes are blocked because we have a specific outcome we want. It's an expectation that we have, and it didn't come out the way we wanted. And so that can kind of cause some upset, some peace of mind, really impact your mental health. Or maybe for me, it's that point of like, you have the ask and now there's crickets, right? There's some crickets around. And then for me, if it's like that, sometimes there's some second guessing, like, oh, should I have asked? Or maybe I've asked and I explained too much when I had that, phone call, or maybe you did it through an email, you did it through text, and I'm over explaining. And that can be quite exhausting internally for yourself. So there's a drain on your mental health. There's a drain sometimes just on asking, because we have again that thing in our mind, whatever that is, limiting belief, whatever is stopping you from being bold and getting, or asking for something that you want. And we've got all that stuff behind it. So, thinking about that ultimate, act of self care in this Mental Health Awareness Month, reclaiming our mental health, reclaiming that bandwidth, trusting our own internal compass, our own internal decisions that we make, and finding that quiet strength to like stand by the choices without needing that outside stamp of approval, which we started talking about last week. Sometimes we speak to a million different people because we need to like get that approval and validate that it's okay for me to ask. Wait, I've got to ask Raquel. Raquel, I'm thinking of this and I want to ask Josh for that. And what do you think? Right? All of that is really draining. So our mind is our sanctuary. And tonight I'm just curious about having a conversation about where people are in all of that. Like, how do we protect our like peace of mind when we're kind of looking for a big ask? And did you do it? How did it feel when you got the result from it? So it's really layered. That's pretty much the whole entire kind of conversation. And I'm just curious if any of our viewers who have been following us through these past few weeks have taken that big moment. We've kind of put that question out there. Has anybody went out there and asked for something that matters to them? And how was it for you? Did you get the outcome you wanted? How did that feel if you didn't? And if you did? And if you haven't, what's going on? Because Raquel and I can do this all night long, but this is Rise and Thrive Together. So I'm just curious.
Nope, we can't. She is not telling y'all this part. Cannot do this all night.
All right. So we already got the post coming up. Thank you, Ellen, our longtime thriver. She said, we can't control anyone else's reactions to our ask. However, we must believe in our request or our need, whatever that is, our request or something that we need from that person. It's scary, but being real to ourselves is what's most important. So to play to the audience as opposed to self-honesty is even worse. That's pretty deep, Ellen. So I don't know. So you can type in or whatever. What I'm hearing from that one is, yes, being real to ourselves is more important than playing to what other people want. Like whatever the audience is or whoever you're asking to, like you're letting yourself go and kind of appeasing them. Because I've been in those kind of like asking for something and all of a sudden it kind of turns the corner and somebody plays you back this way. And the next thing you know, you're like, oh, you're right. And you're going that way, but you never really meant to go that way. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about. But I just feel like it's like if I stand in my ask, no matter what the outcome is, I have to be true and honest to myself. Like Raquel said last week or the week before, it's like you ask, and then if it didn't work out, then it's like next, right? Like no hard feelings, no nothing. But sometimes you're saying that it's scary. And I'm curious for you and everybody else who's listening, what's the scary part? Like what's really, that's the mental health part around it. It's a mind, that's what the mind's doing. It's a whole mindset. And our mind does that. So I'm just curious if anybody else has anything to say, or sis, do you have something that you want to say to Ellen or anything else around that?
Let me just be real personal here. When people are asking me something, what and how I would like them to ask is get to the point. Some people will ask a question and they will take you on a trip around the world. And what I miss when they take me on this trip is where the heck are we going? And let me break this down for you. What was the question? Sometimes we pile on and we do it because we're nervous, maybe. We're afraid. We've got all of these feelings that we're having, and it causes us to speak a lot more than we should. We give the explanation. We sometimes even answer the question to the person that we're asking the question. People, I love you, but sometimes y'all got to get to the point. Just ask, how much is this? Well, I really like that little butterfly pin over there. I think the colors are just so vibrant and so pretty, and it would look so nice with my red shirt. Oh my gosh. Wow. All you want to know is how much it costs. Why can't we ask that? You're taking me on this journey. I'm getting caught up in all the scenery. You don't want people to get caught up in scenery. And I get the nerves. I do. There are times I have to ask people for things, and it's like nerve-wracking. But I also know how I would want someone to ask me is to just ask. All the beating around the bush and telling me a story, honestly, I stopped listening. That's me. I'm telling y'all how I am. Because just ask me what you need to ask me. And some people are like, oh, I have a question to ask you. Okay. And then they get quiet. That's something else. Has that ever happened to you, Reg, where someone says, I have a question? And you say, okay.
No, absolutely.
And they stop talking.
And then you're like, I've had that on phone calls often. It's a great topic because what I heard from you, and it's really our topic for tonight in episode 159, it's stop explaining and start owning, right?
I was real clear.
Yeah. Stop explaining.
I was very clear. It needed just ask the question. I get you're nervous. Practice in front of a mirror before you get to that person. If that is a person that may make you a little nervous, you're a little scared, they're a little intimidating, dare I say that. And I have those people, but I need to get what I want. So the only way I can do it is ask them.
Yeah.
And when I have to ask and it's what I deem something important, I don't text it. I call. Because it warrants a phone call in case that person wants to have a discussion about it prior to answering the question. And that's absolutely fair.
I love that.
But we're in this technological age where everything is, oh, let me text. Let me just leave a voice. No, stop doing that. Sometimes it's beneficial to have it good old fashioned. Let's pick up the phone and have the conversation.
Well, that answered a lot, and I'll get to what Susan's going to say in a second. Staying into that mental health, I agree with you. I'm pick up the phone, let's chat, because we interpret texts, we interpret emails, we start adding our own voices of whatever that person's saying, right? Like I'll put up Susan's stuff right here. Here's a response to what she said. Oh, hold on. I'm going to do Susan first. Thanks, Genevieve. Susan's isn't coming up. Okay, there we go. She's like, Raquel, circular people make me crazy too when they go into like circles of talking. But
it does, Susan. That's right? Why I stopped listening, because I get dizzy and I'm like, I can't. When you're ready, we can talk.
She goes, it's their communication style. And as a leader, I've tried to do some really deep breathing. Right?
I can't breathe that deep, Susan.
When you're you're a professor, so you get that in class, right?
Yeah.
And Raquel has a definite way of, being able to cut people off and, have them heard, but at the same exact time be like, okay, take the point and move it forward. But sometimes it is that part. And I love that. And we've got over here, I want to go back because Susan also said, She's like, good evening. As an adult, I recognize that I often don't ask for simple things from others because it never
Yes.
occurs to me to ask someone else because I'll just take care of it. I've lived alone for so long that I've
Gotcha.
forgotten what it's like to have a partner.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Like that's where you take that moment and take that breath, right? Thank you,
Yes.
Susan.
Susan, you said so much in just that little statement, because it's funny, I was talking to someone at some point in time, mm, means equals, I can't remember. But we wait, I know who I was talking to, and I was saying to him, I've been alone for so long. And when I say alone, not like I don't have friends and all that sort of, don't say, I mean, a partner, significant other, that there are times I feel I've gotten good at being alone. So, like Susan, if I want to do something, I got to do it. If I want something, I just go get it. I don't have to ask. And we're talking specifically now about a partner, significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, whatever your story is. And I don't, Susan, we might have to take a class or teach a class or when you've been alone for single for so long and you find someone, how do you now get into that groove of asking them for something, for help, for whatever? How do you get in that groove?
That's a great, we still got week 4 next week, guys. So that's super fun and something to,
Yeah.
because Raquel and I talk about this often, we call it behind the scenes of Rise and Thrive, but we're not, recording. As a single person, as someone who's married, right? There is, I really love this, Susan. There is that part of like, strong woman. She's like, I've been by myself. I pretty much am clear about who I am. I ask for what I ask for. But then all of a sudden, right, sis, you gone on a date. We've talked about your date. You're very clear. And all of a sudden you're like, you see his communication style, you see the way they respond, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is this might just not work, right? Because it's just either too much. And then you're like a little kid sometimes when I talk to you, where you're just like, and I didn't know, right? Because it's like getting back on the bicycle, and it's different when it's your girlfriends. It's different when we're on a show like this. It's very different. Raquel made it very clear. As Susan, we're gonna just assume when you say a partner, meaning someone you're in, like I said, husband, wife, whatever it may be, relationship-ish person, not like your girlfriend, not like, your boss even. It is different. And as someone who's been married for 16 years, I want Josh on because Josh will probably say a whole bunch of other stuff. Because Josh is still that person who doesn't ask for much. I'm the
Mm.
queen of asking. His thing is he needs to learn how to say no to me, right? And he's learned that because
Is
he
that
is.
what you really want, though? Do
No,
you
I don't,
want
but I
him to learn
honestly
to say
do. In
no?
mental health, yes, I'm starting to really see that. And he is a giver. He is a giver. He is a yes. He is a family man. He is someone who really honors, relationship. And I see in his own mental health, right? Even in his own mental health, like you, there's nothing you need to ask or do. I'm also that doer. Like I'm just like, hi, I'm going to get my nails done and bye. Like
Mm.
2 hours of getting your peace and quiet done. It's complicated, people. It's like I like to say it's like a onion, and it's you're peeling it and you're peeling it. I don't think it takes a long time to get to the bottom. And I'm going to say for someone, I don't care. Experts, come on in. If you're a marriage expert, whatever it is, I think that word is really funny because human beings are always evolving and always growing. It becomes easier, and it's always a journey of learning one another because we're always in ebbs and flows and growing and in our head and having a bad day and the whole whatever's stopping you from asking. And it may have nothing to do with your partner. It's most likely, and 99% of the time, has nothing to do with the partner. It has to do with your energy, where you're at, whatever's happening. Genevieve says, I have a hard time asking as well. And she goes, but I did ask Regina for some help, and we have a plan for Saturday. So
Awesome.
thank you, Genevieve. Yeah, and I know her a long time. She is a queen of like my husband. Gives, 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 does not ask for help. So super happy that she did that. And Jessica Powers, welcome. Sis, this is my good friend Jessica Powers. She's
Hi,
Miss
Jessica Powers.
Wilson. She's on saying ownership is so important and something we can nurture in small and big ways that eventually leads to immense respect from others that won't mess with us when they sense we are firm in our standards, our boundaries, and our vision. Ownership is really important and something you nurture in relationships in big and small ways that eventually leads to immense respect for one another so that they don't mess with when they sense we are firm in our standards, boundaries, and vision. And that's we've been talking about, Jessica, for months prior, right? That kind of flows into everything that we've been talking about. We talked about our boundaries, right? But
Okay.
it goes with Raquel, I think, a lot with what you said last night, which is knowing what your ask is, being very clear. Have clarity in what you're asking for and be clear in your communication. Know what your
It's
boundaries
kind
are.
of helpful.
Yeah, it is.
It's helpful, right? It's helpful to the other person.
Yep.
I
Yep.
I had a conversation with someone, and I was like, I had zero idea what you were asking me. I'm
Mm,
sorry. And I'm honest. I'm not honest because I'm trying to hurt someone's feelings, but I had no idea what you were asking me. So it was hard for me to pick out the question, and you need to be a lot clearer, especially depending on the ask, right? Because sometimes you're asking people for money and not $5. You add a comma, some zeros, and you've got to be really clear about that. So does it depend on what you're asking? No, you should always be clear. Otherwise, communication is a two-way street. Sender, receiver. You need to be clear. Because some people I find get annoyed when they're asking someone something, and I'm sure people get annoyed with me, and the other person, me, is like, what? What are you asking? I'm not sure. And then they're like, well, I'm trying to say, and then they just keep adding in more words. Because now they
over-explaining.
need to explain the explanation that they just explained. Just ask the question. Time is running out. Ask the
Ellen says it's a
question.
skill. Ellen's saying it's a skill to get to the point. And you know what,
Okay, they need
Ellen?
to learn that skill, Ellen.
Listen, I listen. You got to be straight up. You know, at the end of the day, this is a practice. You have a skill of saying, I am not clear about what you're saying, right? And then the person over here, say, go take me, could be annoyed because we think we're clear, but we're not. And
Mhm.
that could be a way why people don't even ask for things because all you did was ask for very, you were honest, like, and you even did the explanation of because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. See how like complicated it gets? Really, all you did was want to say, hey, I'm not sure what you're saying. Can you say that again? I don't understand what you're asking me. And in the background is like, and I don't want to hurt their feelings, like so much stuff, so
That's not in
much.
my background.
Yeah. Well, no, when you said it before, because
I'm
you're
like,
like,
this is
I
somebody
don't want
else's.
to like,
I
yeah, like you're like, I don't want to say that, like,
Right, I could say so many other words, but I
right.
say I'm
Yeah.
not clear. And I do that a lot with my students because I want them. Listen, here's real quick. Specificity is the basis for cooperation.
Boom.
If you are specific, the person that you are speaking with is likely to cooperate. When there is the confusion and the fluff, the person may not be as likely to cooperate. One, because they might be confused about what you are really asking. So yes, Ellen, asking and being clear is a skill that is fading because we have technology.
Say a little bit more about that. What is the
I've
thing
just
that
said a
technology?
lot about it.
No, but like what?
Technology. People no longer know how to speak because they text.
Gotcha.
Plain and simple. And I deal with it every day. I deal with the young adults who don't know how to speak. So when they're asking me a question in class and my face is like, Not sure what you're asking. They're like, never mind. I said, I didn't say never mind. I said, I'm not clear what you're asking. That does not warrant a never mind. That warrants you now going back and saying, how can I communicate this clearer? And I do not let them get away with it. Never mind. That's not an option in here. That's
Exactly.
class next door. So go next door and you tell them never mind. I need you to be real clear. And they're like, well, what I really want to know is ba, 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 ba. Great, got you. Now I can offer some assistance. Before, I was like Little Red Riding Hood in the woods.
I love that. I really love that's such a great conversation. I'd love to have, other people, um, really wonder what your perspective is because it didn't dawn on me about how technology really has taken away that face to face, even online. We're right here online, but you're correct. It's everybody's safe, right? We play it kind of safe around the mental health piece of it, maybe. Quick text here, quick text there, if they're not sure. But again, I'm going to say, like Raquel, technology can be a lot more complicated because then you make up the way somebody's asking you something or speaking or all of that. Pick up the phone. Pick up the
And you
phone.
speak in emojis.
Yes. Oh,
I don't even know what some of them mean.
I know.
I've had to ask. And I
Yes.
really and truly did. I've had to ask, what is that? I don't know what that means.
We are. We're losing the art of talking and communicating through that. Susan wrote back in, she doesn't foresee a partner, but she says, I have friends. And my friends say, you should have just called me. And then I'm like, duh. She's so used to like on her own and being alone and forgetting what it's like to. So although she may not have the partner, right, that she foresees at this moment in time, doesn't see, she's got a lot of people around her. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I could have asked some.
Yeah.
I could have asked them. Darn, didn't think of that. Yeah, I get that, Susan.
Yeah.
I get that. And I have to disagree. There's a partner there for you.
Yeah. She's saying that nuance is lost when texting or even in writing emails. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jessica's writing in to get for her to be more clear. She goes, I don't know if my other comments came through. So she goes, as a circular thinker, she's owning it. She's a circular thinker. I often need a runway to process out loud as I am also connecting thoughts and ideas together. And that runway depends on who I'm talking to, the trust, the depth of that dynamic with that person, and how safe and transparent I can be with them and they can be with me. I feel like I then can be honest without fear of retaliation or rejection, etc. Psychological safety in our communication is super important professionally and personally to me.
Jessica, I've got one question for you. I need some clarity on this runway. Does that mean you need space to take off? Or I need clarity on that, on the runway.
Right. So cool.
So if you can give some clarity, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
She wants to know what your runway process is. And then Susan says, thanks, Raquel. She's holding out for the space of that man.
We both are. We both are.
I mean, we're going to sidetrack off for a second, but I did have a conversation with some of my people this weekend. Someone, a longtime friend who I haven't spoken to in a while, and she's still single. And I mentioned Raquel, I mentioned Susan and Genevieve. I'm putting you out there because we're really, really close. I was like, just to have a reminder, guys, next week, closing out this topic. I mean, we'll continue, but our summer schedule is coming up. And that means that next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. We'll be on. We'll be home, 8 o'clock. The weekend's over. Back to work. And then our June schedule will come. And June will be on the following Monday. So next week, we're on live. The week after, we're on live. First Monday in June. Then we're on our summer schedule, which is the first Monday we will be live, June, July, and August. And then we are going to be running the best of Rise and Thrive Together. Because for Raquel and I in our mental health, we are going to go and do what we talk about, getting the results that we want in our life through all the real talk we've been doing for 3 years. So we've got plans and things to do, and we're going to take that time to do whatever we choose to do on Monday nights. And I'm excited for that. Genevieve is going, I can turn a dance floor into a runway. So that's her new song. Just in case anybody has not heard the new song, it's the new Lady Gaga song. And Doechii, I think it is. And Genevieve is a fashionista and an extraordinary fashion person, beside a ton of other things. And that's her jam. So I knew she just wanted to say about that runway thing. Jessica is now jumping in. I know it's such a good song. Jessica jumped in and says, it means I need more time to get to the point. Her runway is she needs all that time to
Gotcha. Will you go really explain what she just said? I got it.
Yeah.
She was real clear then.
Well, I was reading it twice. Clear. I was like, she said, it means. It was like, huh? But that's awesome. So yes, I love it.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the explanation.
And how simple, right? Simple question. Answer, another question within a minute or two later, boom. She gets it. That is out loud communication with a text, right? Pretty much. But there is something about that person speaking out loud, somebody even listening, even if they can't get in. There's much more an easier way to communicate than just text to text. But Susan would like to know, let's talk about how mental health has become a thing and how people of all levels misunderstand how to use the term, i.e. battling mental health. That's a good one, Susan. That might be next week's topic.
And I'm asking, is she asking, you're making a statement that you're battling mental health?
Yeah.
You know what it is for me, Susan? I think, this is just me, that some folks confuse or use them interchangeably, mental illness and mental health. And they're not synonymous, though we use them interchangeably.
And this thing about we're battling mental health, right? There is an experience for so many people, and throughout my career and just recently, people who have things that they're dealing with. And we just kind of say, like, I'm battling this relationship. I'm battling this decision I need to make. I'm battling this mental health piece. Like she says, it's like a thing, right? Like it's a thing. But I'm curious about what that means more. And and before I get to that, I'm just taking a moment, Susan, that I'm curious about a little bit more about what you mean about the battling of mental health and having it be a thing. Like mental health has now become a thing. Jessica is now jumping in on, I'm here for the dance floor runway experience. And she is also good for you, Jessica. I'm excited. And she goes, I am using speak to text, wonky typos and grammar. Jessica, if you give me permission, Jessica has a hearing disability. So she has to do a lot with computers and speak to text and words. So
Jessica, don't matter. You answered the question. You good.
Yeah, that's what I say, right? Boom.
We don't, what you got going on, girl, but you good. Thank you for asking. Thank you for inviting yourself to the runway, turning it into a dance floor with Genevieve. I like it. You were doing great. No need to apologize.
Yes, awesome. And Susan is going, yes, as a person whose first and only language is English, I don't get the misunderstanding and how it's become a pop culture saying, the battling mental health. That's what she's saying, As Raquel said, confusing mental health with mental illness. So it's
Yeah.
become more of a pop culture thing for her, how it's coming across as,
Yeah.
that.
I see
Um,
that a whole lot
mm,
working with these young adults.
absolutely. And Jessica's saying sometimes we are battling when we don't have the full self trust about making the best decision for ourselves.
Ouch, Jessica. Ouch. Good point. I like it.
Right?
And it's very true.
it's so good. There's a bomb drop, and I'm like, that's a bomb drop. That is amazing.
So
Um,
I want to share this with you all. We talked about boundaries, right? We discussed boundaries, and I set one this weekend on a
woo!
student, and we discussed it today. She and I discussed it, and I thought it was great because I was like, "It's the weekend. I don't work on the weekend." And she went back and asked me another question, and I was like, "Okay, as I said, it's the weekend. I don't work on the weekends, and please respect my time and my boundaries. Have a great weekend."
Nice.
Clear
Clear
communication. And she did not text back. And then we talked about it today.
on the day that is meant to be talked to. Now it's like weekend's over. Now we can discuss that. That's great. I love it. I love it. I do have a big correction. Thank you, Jessica, because I'm like you. My runway, my mouth is my runway. And she's like, correction, I'm partially sighted. So there was a voice, not the hearing. And I said
Wrong
hearing.
sense, Reg. Wrong sense.
I was just like runway going. Genevieve wants to share something as someone who is very passionate about the conversation of mental health and it's important. She says we battle, and she did capital BATTLE here because we fight. And it's like a fight about fighting mental health. Like fighting mental health is a battle, and her experience of what that's like. So we battle because we fight, right? That's one thing. And fighting mental health is a battle for many people.
Hmm.
So that's, what she wanted to put out there as well. So good. This is such a great conversation. So grateful for everybody
I
coming
love it.
in.
I think it's important that maybe we next week talk about
Yeah.
mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll go on more about this conversation.
And we'll talk about the battling,
Yeah. I love that.
mental health and what that means to people.
Yeah. So stay tuned. Come back. If you got stories, feel free. We have a amazing Facebook group called Rise and Thrive Together Community. It is a safe, secure. Many of you are our regulars and have shared deeply. So I'd love if you are interested. I'm asking. Feel free to share that conversation about what that experience is about battling mental health. And we have our other channels as well. So anything that is comfortable for you. Susan says we fight mental illness, not mental health. Is my point.
Got it. I love
And
it.
Jessica writes, we fight when we also feel a loss of control.
Control. Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So lots of great perspectives, great conversations.
And we'll
Definitely,
unpack that next week.
I love it. Yeah, yeah.
Because
And
I like that. I get the concept of battle, and like Susan, mental health and battling. Yeah, I just did a talk on this yesterday. I was asked to, I don't know how to say it, give the sermon
yeah, that's
at
what you were saying. Yeah.
church,
Yep.
but it was a talk about mental health, since obviously this is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we talked about the difference between mental health and mental illness and what that
And,
looks like.
and this is beautiful because we'll leave it on that. Because that is a really great thing about,
Mm-hmm.
the maybe the difference, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
everyone has mental health. We all have mental health,
Right.
but not everyone receives a
Not everyone
diagnosis.
has a mental illness.
Right. Not everyone receives that diagnosis of a mental illness. So our mental health is our overall
I thought
well-being.
you said we'll continue that next week, but there you
No, I'm
go.
leaving it with this. Mental health includes your overall well-being, and mental illness is a diagnosis of a mental health condition. And that is, a big difference, right? Hey, I love it. So good. Good conversation tonight.
Yay. This was fun for me. I don't know about you guys, but I love it. I'm not going to go listen to that Lady Gaga song. No, I probably won't. And I like her, but I just probably won't. I'm
But
sleepy.
I'll put it for you for tomorrow morning. I'll put
But
it in.
this was great. It was great. Thank you all for actively taking part in the conversation. And more importantly, thank you for respecting each other's opinions. We're all here to learn and grow. And I love it. My only request is that we be open
Yeah.
to the learning and growing. It definitely is something that's open and practice. You know how you get better at asking questions? Ask questions. Just keep asking. So as you go through the rest of this week, we'd like you to just ask anybody that you see, you meet. I don't care if it's a stranger, ask a question. So those of you that need the runway space, those of you that think you're asking a question and you're really not, you'll get to you'll get better at it, but it comes with practice. Okay? So let's get in practice and get better at asking questions so that we can get the answer, not that we always want. Well, we want it. We know what we want, but the person can answer us honestly. And we're not going to go the other way or not honestly. The person can answer us honestly because we are clear with the question. Can we do that as we go through this week? See, that was a question. Can we, and we do it?
Let's do
But,
it.
huh?
I said, let's do it.
Yes, we're doing it. We're going to get better at asking questions and you practice. That's how you do it. All right. This was fun. We appreciate you all so, so very much. And we appreciate you allowing us to have this summer break. We will be here, like Red said, every first Monday. But until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep choosing you. Take care.